Pensfan along with Seragyn and Spoon. Going to give you our top 3 cards from the new Tarkir Dragonstorm set. So, let's go jump right in. Let's, I guess we'll start with my 3, right? My number 3.
Let's start with two.
Yeah, Mistrise Village. I feel I feel like this is what you're gonna put in any of your blue decks, right? I mean, especially if you have a spell part of a combo or something, you have to make sure you don't get negated or whatever. I mean, pay 1 to make it something can't be countered. I mean, that seems like that's pretty good, right? At least to
Am I
me.
allowed to talk now?
Yes, yes, yes. Say whatever. Yeah.
You didn't like what I had to say before, but fuck Pence.
Yeah.
Anyway, no, it's I think I agree with you. It's a pretty good card. I've actually been seeing a lot of people talking about it on Reddit, saying how underrated it is right
I
now.
don't even read Reddit, and I thought this was a good one. So yay me. Ha!
Yeah, I like this card. It's really really good. Um, it's in and like it's a good mana seeking. So one of the best things about the card is that it can kind of protect your other cards, like in modern, because like if you play it, then someone has the ghost quarter it. Because if they don't, like you can just win the game. So like your other lands, your creature lands, start getting you gets protection. So I love the card.
All right, there you go. That's my number 3. My number 2. The Sibsig Ceremony. This one is my Mega Jank card from the set. I don't know that this. I'm sure someone will find a way to play it in Commander, but I'm looking at it like a standard deck right now. Something to do with this. It seems really ridiculous, but I feel like you could do some fun stuff, obviously with zombies, and then I'm thinking you could do, obviously cards that have nice effects when they die, because you can immediately get that effect, especially if they create tokens or other shit, because you'll get the tokens, and you'll actually get a 2/2 druid zombie token. And the way I look at it, you could also then reanimate the shit that dies from this without taking the penalty of it dying. You know what I mean? So it gets it into the graveyard instead of maybe possibly getting exiled or something if you're playing against white. So it's something, like I said, it's my mega janky inclusion. It's probably gonna be horrendous, but I want to try it out at least. So that's why I put that as my number 2.
I've
I
seen
can see it
someone
in some
play this.
zombie decks.
I've seen someone play this in the heir apparent deck. So like you play it, you play bunnies, and then you cast that. It's not Rice from the Grave. It's that spell that brings all your cards
Mm-hmm.
that cost 2 or less back.
Yep.
So like you get, it's yeah. So like your start well when you play it, so like you can play hairs out before you play it, and then like you'll play 1 or 2 hairs when it's out there, and then you just bring them all back
Oh, I know
because
exactly what
like
card
you're
you're
not
talking about.
you're not you're not casting them. So like those hairs that come back from the grave stay out there. So it's broken and wrong and shouldn't exist.
There's also a lot of synergy with cards that either reward you or punish your opponent whenever you have a creature that dies.
Oh, that's
I mean, there's
true.
a lot of, especially in zombies, that's a big thing. So you play this and just keep smashing them with, the little plinky damage, and you're playing little one cost things that do draw or make them discard a card and that kind of stuff. And
And
you
you're
end
gonna
up
get
with
2/2 in its
another
place.
zombie token.
Yeah. So you could play, yeah,
Yeah.
like those.
Yeah.
I think there's a bunch of like 1/1
Now,
rats you could play that make you discard.
if you play, and if you play this in, I guess in a tournament, would be Argent Point. I don't know the name here. Um, Green and black,
Mm-hmm.
then you can use stuff like the ooze enchantment from the last set that makes all of your creatures have a base of 6/6.
Oh my, that would
Yeah,
be
yeah,
nice.
that was in yeah. That's
Yeah. So like I said, this one's my mega jank. Is it gonna be great? Probably not. But it's like I said, it's gonna be a silly standard build around. Is there a
Mhm.
commander that would want this? I don't know. I guess actually, you
Like
know what? Is a planeswalker considered a creature?
No.
So maybe you put it
So
as an
what I was
ally.
gonna say is you
Yeah.
could play it with like an Elspeth deck.
Yes. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
that doubles the amount of tokens you're making anyway.
Yeah. So you'd want like a planeswalker maybe as your commander for this or something. But yeah, this seems like it'll be silly to build around, so that's why I threw it on there. That's my number two. Sibsig
yeah. It's
Ceremony.
also a good card uh, if you're playing with something with Black Devotion also.
Mm.
Mhm. And there are several um, board wipes that destroy all non-token. So you can do a one-sided board wipe.
Bad as well. This is a cool card.
Or things like what is it? The bullshit blue card that returns all your opponent's permanents to their hand. Or there's even one like
There's a Clonic
the
Rift.
season of the whatever, the blue season, where when you play it, it returns all non-token permanents.
Mm. All right, and then let's hit you with my number one. Kotis, the Fangkeeper. I definitely want to make a commander deck for sure out of this. I feel the colors that it's in, obviously, Death Touch we get from black, green will give us trample, and a blue give us a bunch of ways to protect it even more, ways to buff it, etc. So I feel like, I mean, it's indestructible, so I'm going to swing every damn turn. I don't care, right? Especially
You
if it's
get
suited.
Basilisk Tooth or whatever it is on it too that gives it Death Touch and Trample.
Yeah, exactly. And in those colors, it's easy enough to give it. So we suit it up and we just keep swinging with trample, death touch, buff its life and health, and more than likely every turn you're gonna get hit for something. So you're gonna be exiling cards that we're gonna be able to hopefully play a few of them for free, just for the hell of it, just for funsies. So
I've played against this several times,
oh,
and it's gone 50-50. It either works really, really well,
mm-hmm.
especially if you're playing a slower deck, or your opponent is playing a slower deck than you, or it's the exact opposite and it's trash because it doesn't ever actually get through.
Mm.
But even then, it is still a indestructible blocker. But anything that exiles it is going to be a pain in the ass.
Yeah. So you're playing against white decks. I mean, but as I said, at least with having blue as a color and a
Not just
commander,
slightly more.
yeah, we can maybe have a few negates and stuff for when they try to play their, their enchantments or whatever that negate that exile it. Hopefully, you can counter those.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's the dream anyway. That you'd be able to hopefully protect it that
Mhm.
way. Because, like I said, obviously with it being indestructible, you don't have to really worry about board damage per se. So, just a matter of getting exiled, or I guess if they force you to sacrifice a unit, or what's the other one?
Negative stats.
Yeah. So that's my number one. Like I said, this one I definitely am looking to make a commander deck out of. So that's my three. So let's kick it over to Seragyn, his number three. Looks like Betor can do all. Big old dragon.
Okay, so I've been playing him in Commander because that's generally what I play.
Mm-hmm.
And okay, just a caveat: I don't know about good, but it is really fun. And I've tried a couple different strategies with him here, just like big stompy bullshit, and also just a grow wide token stacks. And getting to the first goal of 10 toughness is actually really easy, especially considering he's a 5/7.
Oh, does it count his stats as well then, right?
Yes, it does.
Oh shit, you're halfway there then, yeah.
The 20 is also pretty decent because then, especially in the big stompy deck, it's mainly like dragons and flyers. So you can attack and still have these big, huge blockers left behind so you don't get too much of a crackback. have hit the 40 toughness a few times. Honestly, I don't feel like it's that impactful because at that point, with most of the decks I'm running, unless you're way behind against a life gain deck or something, the fact that it does the half rounded up at the end of your turn, maybe set you up for the next turn to win or whatever. But in general, it's more the draw that I think is the draw and the untapping here. Because that untapping also works for things like, let's say you tapped all your shit for mana or for something else, convoke, whatever. Well, you don't have to worry about that nearly as much.
Yeah, I
It's
like
fun.
I like this. Yeah, it's great for draw go because you can draw and still have a turn and go if you have enough guys on there. And this card, there's a I forgot what the name it is, but there's a 5-faction enchantment for dragons that you can put a
Yes.
+1/+1 counter on each of your dragons like that, and this fits in perfectly with that. And then we have all the omen dragons, which we'll get into with Milas, that fit into this really well. Like, they're dragons, but they get a spell or something on a stick that can go back into your deck that you can draw again. And so like he fits in really well with all of that.
Yeah, I'm working on making that deck. I don't have the wild cards for it yet.
Yeah, so this one looks really. I mean, 10 toughness to draw a card. I mean, you're already halfway there. Like you said, that's easy. That's free draw, basically.
Yeah, you only have to have 3 or any kind of plus on the board. There's also the new Dragon Mana Rock that whenever you play a dragon, it puts a +1/+1 token on it.
I mean, and I feel like
There's also there's an Omen Dragon that puts a +3/+3 counter on something as well.
Yeah.
So like you can play that out if you're already there.
Yeah.
Right. And I've had instances where he's like the only thing on board. I'm still getting the draw.
And I feel like
and he's flying, which is a big deal.
I feel like the 40 toughness is just win more. Like, I feel like if you have 40 toughness of a creatures, you're probably either have one or about to win. Like,
There's board states where you might not be able to win with 40 toughness. Like if you're playing against the hares and stuff like that, and you gotta just keep your guys back because they're just overwhelming you or whatever. This can be a finisher for that.
But if he also has that 40 toughness, it triggers all of them, so he would still untap, so you can still attack.
Yeah. So but they can just if somehow or your other guys aren't flying or something, they could just have a bunch of they can just chump forever against you. But that's just a crazy board state. But if that comes up, then you have a win count for it. So
board stalls in Commander are pretty common. So I think one of the things I found is that when that does help is when you're already significantly behind, you can catch up with that life total very quickly using that.
Yeah. That's what I was meaning, like with the rabbits and stuff like that, because they're usually an aggro deck, so they usually will get you pretty low because they get to spill out all their stuff, and then they're out of gas and they're just hoping to try and chip in at the end. But then you have a win con, so screw them.
Very, very solid dragon. All right, so you're number 2, Temur Battlecrier.
So this is one I've been working with in Standard. So there is a commander that is it costs less for all your stuff with +1/+1 counters, and if you play it, all your creatures cost less for every counter you have. And I really enjoyed playing with him. He's not very good, but I enjoyed playing with him because there is this whole suddenly you're just spewing giant shit onto the board. I think this one goes a step further in that all of your spells get cheaper for every unit you have with 4 power or higher, including this unit. So playing him discounts everything else by 1.
Nice.
You get 2 of him out, and suddenly everything costs 4 less.
And he's not that expensive. I mean, he's a green, a blue, and
a red. He's actually cheap. It's 3 costs. It's 4/3, so it's statted appropriately. I feel like. In the games, where people have ignored him or let him live for a turn, it's just ridiculous. Because, you're casting like Phyrexian portals for 0.
Yeah, that can get out of hand. Like he's a must kill.
Yeah. The downside is, of course, that you have to have something to follow up.
Mm-hmm.
And I haven't quite gotten the deck tuned where I want it yet. And if you don't get him, you have to worry about making your deck full of a bunch of giant shit you can never cast before it's too late.
Mm-hmm.
But even for regular stuff, sorry, Swoon, but even for regular stuff, if you're just playing like artifacts or something in there, it's an incentive to add those even reasonably cost ones, because now they're free when you want to play them. Or I've been running him with the Galta that costs less for all the power on your board, because it stacks with that. So suddenly you're getting this giant 12/12 trample out for 2 costs, even when you only have a couple units on the board.
Damn.
Yeah, that's cool. This works really well with Up the Beanstalk also. So
it does.
More reason for why Up the Beanstalk should have been banned, but whatever.
Good old bean.
I've been using it a lot with Garrix too.
Yeah, that works too.
I think Up the Beanstalk is probably better in the long run because it's a passive draw.
Yeah, but like both work. Like it just depends on what's in your deck. Like if you don't have that many top end stuff in your deck and you're playing sensibly, then Barracks is probably better. If you have a bunch of big stuff, if you're gonna go down like what I want to do with this is like I want to play like there's a card Annie Joy's Up from Outlaws. I want to throw this in there and just a bunch of overcosted legendaries and just with Up the Beanstalk, just go wild.
I've done that too, and it's fun when it works. It's just right now the standard meta. Yeah, the standard meta is either you're dead by turn 3, or it's straight remove a pile.
Yeah. That's not what I was suggesting was not a competitive deck. It's just a fun.
Right. So I would not play this in competitive. But I decided this time to go with more cards that I just found really fun and like to use their mechanics and you could do cool shit with.
That's what it's all about, having fun. Which probably brings you to your number 1 card, right?
Yes.
All right, here's Seragyn's number 1. Ugin, Eye of the Storms. Legendary Planeswalker.
Now, this one has been getting a lot of hate on Reddit and other sites.
I wonder why.
Well, yeah.
It's basically an all is dust on a stick. It's
yes. It is really easy. Like you're basically playing a deck full of mana rocks and then some stupid shit that's really high costed, like Eldrazi.
Fucking Eldrazi.
And your whole goal is just live long enough to get him out on usually turn 4 or 5, especially in Commander. And then you're exiling, so it gets rid of that indestructible peskiness. 2 cards every turn, at least, including the turn he's put out. Because you can pop him out, even if you're just at 7, do his 0 cost, add 3 colorless, and play another cheap mana rock. And he procs himself, and so does the mana rock. His ultimate at 11, which is not hard to get to considering his loyalty costs are +2 and 0 other than the 11. And
he starts with 7, right?
Yeah, and he starts with 7, and it's really easy to clear a board with him. Sorry, his ultimate lets you go through and pick any number of colorless cards you want to cast or want to put on the battlefield. It's an important distinction. They're not cast, so they don't trigger him. And they're not cast, so they don't trigger like the Eldrazi stuff. But you can just like flood the board with a bunch of ridiculous shit, like all the super high cost relics, or all the giant constructs and golems. And what the fuck is the other guy supposed to do?
Top right.
Yeah. So when I've played him as a commander, most decks, top right after you play him, if you get two things off and they don't have an immediate answer, they just top right. The other thing, though, is if they can kill your ramp, you're just fucked. Because it ends up being a do-nothing deck other than that.
Yeah, that's where I have the problem with him. I'm playing him in Modern. I have one now, and I want to try and get some more. They're probably going to replace my All Is Dust, but in my deck right now, I have my 4 All Is Dust and one of him. And like I played 5 games with it, and like all 5 games I've drawn him, which is freaking fun. But like, and I'm playing him in a Tron deck, and so like Tron's biggest problem always is your stuff is just going to get ghost quartered, and you have to fight through that. And so, but yeah, if they can't cut off your ramp, like you can get him out in Modern on turn 2 or 3, which is
Right.
ridiculous and shouldn't happen, but I don't care. It's Modern. I'm gonna do what I want.
But like I even at first in the first Modern hit I made, I put him in the deck with 4 Ornithopters.
Yeah, I have 2 Ornithopters of mine, and then I have some Mana Rocks. I have the there's a Dragon Mox, I think is what it's called, for 0 costs. I have 2 of those in there also.
Even though the Moxes do nothing with him out because it's playing colorless anyway.
Yeah, we don't care. I don't care.
We don't care, but I just save all those in my hand and play him and wipe everything, enchantments, everything the other person does, and that's always a top right. The criticism is yes, they definitely loses to like go wide like the Mighty Mouse decks and shit like that, Monsters Mice.
Aggro beats it.
Yeah, and also a lot of the green players are now teching really heavy for anti-artifact. So like you're just kind of screwed in those. So I don't think he's overpowered because it is in a faction and in a kind of archetype that doesn't have a lot of interaction, at least not really enough to keep it, make it where it can last against those kind of fast decks. But any mid-range or control deck, it's just going to lose.
That's what it does. I've seen somebody, they want to play this in the Teferi Sculptor thing deck that makes the construct and stuff, and it feels like it's just win more. Like you're throwing in some. Well, like I kind of lose more in my opinion because like you're gonna have like this card that's just dead in your hand for 4 or 5 turns in a deck that just wants to just spill out all of its 0 and 1 cost artifacts.
Yeah, and also there is the issue that when you start, the current standard deck I'm trying to run it in is a mono white. Because it's got a lot of support for it and a lot of board wipes. I feel like every card you're adding that isn't colorless kind of takes away from his overall usefulness.
Yeah. You got to build the deck down from it. Like you have to start with it and kind of build your deck for it.
And that's why I like it and think it's not too powerful. It is not what everyone thought Aether Spark was going to be, where you put it in every deck. It's not that good. No. But if you build around it, it can be very good and very viable. And I think someone's going to break the fuck out of it.
That draws you players.
Now, there's a lot of criticism that it makes for like boring games and boring play styles. Like it's. People like, what's this stupid? You just throw a bunch of stupid mana rocks in and play. Yeah, but what the fuck is wrong with that? Like some of these aggros spew your hand and attack aren't stupid.
You're not wrong.
Yeah, well, I think that aggro is stupid personally. So I like decks that interact with the other deck personally. So I find him interesting, but I can understand why mindless aggro players don't like him.
Yes. even though they still win in that matchup most of the time.
Yeah. Sometimes they just get the 10 cards that they need right off the top, and they just win. So they should be happy with having another deck that they can just win when they get lucky and get their 10 cards.
Yeah, and it should also be noted that with Ugin, wherever the fuck you say his name, the +2 ability for drawing a card also gains you 3 life, which is really nice to stabilize because early in the game you tend to be pounded pretty hard.
Mm-hmm.
Like pins on a Friday night hard.
So that's Ugin. All right, so next up we got Spoon. His number 3, Dirgur Island Dragon.
So I like this card. This is one of the Omen dragons. Like they're like the adventures where they have one side that's a spell, well, one part that's a spell and one part that's a unit. I didn't know which one of these I wanted to pick. If I picked now, I probably would have gotten one of the shadow ones because they're slightly better utility. But this one speaks to me because it says draw a card on it at instant speed, which is all I want to do. And then the dragon part of it is really good too. It has ward, and it has flying, so it has evasion. And this card I've drafted a couple times, and I've drafted these, and the dragon side has been really, really helpful. And like one game, I cast it twice. I cast the spell part twice, drew it again, and it finished the game for me. So it does what it's supposed to do.
I mean, it's kind of neat that the spell actually, if you play the spell side, it shuffles back into your deck instead of going back into your hand.
Yeah. I forgot to mention that. Yeah, it doesn't go to the graveyard. It goes back. It gets shuffled back into your deck, which is also a good effect because I played a card and like I saw the top card of my deck and and like I was like I don't want that card and then I was like oh yeah I get to, and then like I didn't need to tap something um uh, and no, what was it? Oh no, I surveilled, and I saw two cards, and one of them I wanted, and one of them I did not want. And so I put the one I wanted on top. I drew that card, and then shuffled my deck, and didn't have to draw the card that would probably lose me the game.
I do I do agree with the utility, and I do love the fact that it shuffles back into your deck rather than going into your void like the other adventures do.
Mm-hmm.
My only issue with this cycle of those, and I think they're like Spoon said, great for draft, but I think the dragon part is massively costed.
Yeah. I don't know how many of these you can actually play in a constructed deck. Like I think you can play 4 of these guys just because it's a 2-cost draw card. So that's fine. But like there's like the ones that like put 3+1/+1 counters and stuff like this. So that means you have to have a unit on the field for your spell to be able to work. Or you so like it's all what I'm trying to say, like the ones you pick for constructed have to be cards that aren't going to be dead in your hand, like both sides dead in your hand.
Agreed. And having the dragon on a stick just in case you need it later, because we've all had those draws where fuck I need any unit right now, is nice to have in constructed. But I think that for most of them, except for maybe this one and I think the black one as well, the spell itself isn't necessarily worth having that in over something else.
Yeah, I agree with you. Like I was saying, like that one that puts the +2/+2 counters, like that's not unless there's something ridiculous that you're trying to do with the counters, it's not good enough to throw in your deck. So yeah.
All right, so that's Spoon's number 3. His number 2, Eshki Dragonclaw. She seems like she means business.
Yeah, this is the commander that I want to build around. It seems aggressive and fun. Also, it has ward. The other card had ward also, and so like I've been liking that ability, like ward.
Mm-hmm.
Do we still have Spoon?
I don't know. Maybe we've lost the spoon. He just stopped
I
talking.
forget when I lose my Spoon.
Spoon.
I will say I do also like this card, and I think it could be very fun. Not a big fan of the colors,
Yeah. Although it does have it's a
but I'm
4/4, so it's hard to like like lightning bolts and
Oh,
stuff won't
I'm a,
kill it, you know. But
that's true. It does have the ward, and its fat ass does give a little bit of safety.
yeah,
Um, but yeah, I do like the idea that not only does it grow as a commander,
that's true.
but it gives you some reach over stuff.
And it already comes with trample and ward, so
yeah, and I was saying that I also like it has a vigilance, so like it can attack and still defend for you.
Right.
And then like its text is it that's like the build around like that, like if like I'm gonna try and build around it because the text says you can draw a card, but like you have to cast a creature and a spell uh, for that. So I don't know how consistent you can do that, but I'm gonna try and build something that could do that.
I feel like green has a lot of cheap ways to like play a land or something, and then maybe play like
Yeah.
a land of war
Yeah,
elves
there's
or
cards.
like stuff like that. Maybe I don't know.
Yeah, there's cards. I haven't sat down and made a deck with it, but like that's like the constraint of it. But I think you can play with it without even building your deck for that. Just because, like you were saying, like the 4 butt is really really good,
Mm-hmm.
um, and it makes a lot of removal because of that. A lot of damage based removal because of that.
She's thick.
So
She just gets
Yes.
thicker.
also she's Teamer, so she goes with the card that Seragyn was talking about.
Mm.
Like if you wanted to go down that route too.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's true.
Yeah.
The four. Yes, that's right. She's 4 power, so she would be one less and all that. So yeah. All right, so that's spoons number 2. Is number 1.
Last card is also Teamer. It says Sultai on the
Yeah.
card as well,
Glacier
but
Siege. It's an enchantment.
Yes.
All I hear is yes, yes to this.
Okay,
yeah,
so I like this cycle of enchantments where you get a choice on what they do when they come out. I will say this is maybe not my favorite of them, but I think all of them are pretty good.
yeah, I agree with you. Like like you never play the Sultai one. I don't know who wants to do that because like we already have enchantments and stuff that lets you play lands from the graveyard that are cheaper and
Right.
easier to put into your deck. So I don't know who wants to play a playset of these. Maybe you play one so you can have 5 in your deck or something. I don't know. But like, um, but like what? So I don't understand the Sultai side, but the Teamer side of this that's my cup of tea because I like to draw cards and I like to mill your cards out because I'm a Teamer player.
Oh, you're that guy. So you like to mill people?
Yeah, but no, I agree with this pick. Just because again, it's one of those that there's been some interesting
Yeah.
cycles in this particular set of like stuff like the dragons and this enchantment or these enchantments, and I really like that a lot of them are pretty flexible. So like, there's one that either puts a +1/+1 counter on all your creatures, or lets you draw if there's a +1/+1 counter put on.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that one's actually really good for as a 4F because like you can play one like you can play one on the +1/+1 counters, so put counters on your guys, and then the next one you can play it to draw your cards. So
Right,
like
exactly.
they work together in multiples. Like this one kind of doesn't. Like you can start milling people faster with 2. So maybe 2 is how many you want on the battlefield, but like you never want like more than that.
Right. And there's one that I'm using that gives haste and +1. and Overwhelm, I think, all your creatures.
Nice.
Yeah. I seen. I think I saw a creator on YouTube that was playing with that, and like was using it like as like this one turn combo thing with something. I think maybe it was Boom Bike or something like that, and like
Mhm.
it's just freaking cool.
Yeah,
Nice.
But yeah, I agree with Seragyn that like all these are good. I picked this one just because I wanted to pick a teamer theme for this, so
fair
that's
enough.
all.
No, that's in your opinion. You thought it was the one you liked. That's what we're here for.
Yeah, and like I think like a lot of the stuff in this whole set, like they all fit together really well. I was talking about the lands earlier, that like all
Hmm.
the lands kind of fit really well together, and all of them, feel nice to put in like a lot of decks, and then like these enchantments, they can all fit into a lot of decks, and even like like even the kind of bad omen dragons, they can all fit into a lot of different kind of decks.
Yeah.
And so that's what I really like about the set. Like, there's a lot of stuff you can do with each card.
Mhm.
It's
I
kind
mean, that's kind of the reason I like the dragon I picked was Betor, because you can do multiple builds with him to get him to work. So it's less stale.
of like a
Yeah,
story.
and then like and so like and then all like on the ladder, like you can see like three of the same like decks that are like running that are like built from the same card, like Ugin, for example. Like you can see like three different Ugin decks from different people because it's so kind of versatile. You want to do?
Yes.
So much brings us to our final point, right? Final thoughts on the set.
So I did want to bring up just some overall, like not
Yeah.
specific cards, but um,
The thoughts on the
some of
set
the
or in general, or
mechanics.
yeah.
Yeah. So in standard, I do think the one bad point about this set is it really gave a huge boost to the red white aggro.
Yeah, aggro is out of control.
Yeah, especially like the mobilize cards, which at first I was not that excited about, but having seen them in action, it is ridiculous. Like I forgot that this is not eternal, so things like the 0/4 mobilize 3 white card was like, why the fuck would you ever play this? You have to pump it up to do anything. But no, you can attack with a 0 cost in Magic. So
Yep.
yeah, and it's just filling out these warriors that keep hitting you. There's also the new legendary that makes it where warriors can't be sacrificed at the end of the turn.
I saw that. Yeah.
I have played against like every single time I run into that on ladder. It has that card, and it's just like, I thought there were other ridiculous grow wide aggro shits, but that is just fucking insane. I had one this morning, managed to like just perfectly curve out into all the mobilize and then war leaders call. So
Yeah.
every time they did any of the mobilize shenanigans, they were just like mashing me in the face, just from making the tokens, right?
Yeah, that seems awful. That's terrible.
And that was one of those that turn 3, you're at like 5 health, and they've got 20 damage on the board.
Fun times.
So that's the one negative I see to this, is that they really have given a huge boost across the board um, to the aggro side.
Hmm.
Yeah, but like that's a product of them just putting a bunch of old aggro stuff in,
Yeah,
in Burrow and Outlaws and all that stuff. And this set just has good cards that fit into everything. And so if those decks were, A tier then they get a couple of more cards that they can be better with.
I mean, I feel
So
like
like
they
I
that's a
really
yeah.
think
balance
that's
it.
going to be the main thing you see in tournament play now, is going to be these grow wide aggros.
Mm.
Just like I think the last one there was something like 6 of the top 8 were um, red aggro.
It was no, it wasn't it seven? It was seven aggro decks, and then it
Yeah,
was
something like
uh
that.
That's no fun.
it's it's just messed up. The other mechanic
Yeah.
that I going into this that I like flavor wise was the behold mechanic, and I've only kind of played with it with the in draft, and only with the counter spell with I forgot what it's called, but it's basically a mana leak. It for you have to pay 2 more, and if you behold, it's 4 more. And when you have a dragon in hand, it's really good, and when you don't have a dragon in hand, it's just kind of dead. So
Yeah. But yeah, I am interested in making the OTK dragons where all you have to do is have them on the goddamn board.
yeah, I wanna try and figure something out with that too. So that looks like fun.
But
I
overall,
played against a Ramos deck that was doing that. But unfortunately for him, I was playing Ugin, so I just killed everything.
usually the point,
So,
wait, doesn't he exile?
Well, yeah. So I just exiled all of his shit as soon as he could play it.
yeah, and
Cancel play.
well, and also for that, I was talking about the lands. There's the Maelstrom of the Dragon, I think, is the land that's called that. It plays. It's a colorless land, and then you can play any. You can tap it for any color for a dragon or an omen spell. So like that fits perfectly for that.
It does,
Um,
yeah.
I don't.
And
Yeah,
the
I don't think that 5 color deck is going to run into power issues in standard.
no. You've got like the new Dragon Mox, the other Dragon Rocks. Yeah, you've got tons of stuff there.
Yeah, I mean, overall, I think the set's been very well received. Some good stuff. I mean, who doesn't like
Yeah,
dragons, right? And I get why
I think I
they
am.
I get why they
Go ahead,
buffed
sorry.
aggro a little bit, just because if not, you figure everyone's just going to play giant dragons, so you have to kind of keep them honest, I guess. With you know,
But I feel like the aggro always has an edge in that because
yeah,
these dragons are not cheap.
no, yeah, they always. I mean, yeah, they're always going to go in with an advantage, but I mean, you guys, I guess you have to give them some love. I don't know. I don't play aggro, as you guys know, but some people enjoy it. To each his own.
Yeah. I mean, I don't have anything against the aggro players that can, like, some of the mobilized decks, like I said, have been like absolutely like, holy shit, that's good. Um, but I mean, it does get a little annoying when it's like 4 or 5 games in a row.
Yeah, yeah, and my personal preference would be big flying dragons that do fun and crazy shit. So
And I do think the balance of this set overall is fairly good.
yeah,
Like, there's nothing in here that stands out to me. There's no Ketra
yeah,
in here that is just going to dominate everything.
yeah. Like even the lands
And I
they
think the
make.
people yeah, and I think the people that are complaining that Ugin's going to be the new Ketra most um, haven't actually played with it enough
Yeah, because I mean, he
because
really has to
it's
go
it
in
is
one
really
deck.
good and fun. Yeah, and also it's a slow deck. Like, there's not much of a way to keep up with shit.
I don't know. Draws you can get
Yeah.
crazy quick if they get the right draws. They can get crazy.
Yeah, yeah, but that's any deck, right?
So that's true.
I mean, it's also really weak to counter spells. So
True.
because it's playing 7 cost shits and stuff like that, you counter it and they're just gonna fuck.
Yeah. Yeah.
Although I did figure out someone tried to mana drain my a miracle the other day, or yesterday, and I didn't realize because it never happened before that the miracle doesn't actually have to resolve to steal all the other person's units.
Really.
Yep, it's just for the card. You don't have to. I played Dividing Tap, so yeah, you don't have to. You don't have to resolve anything. They can counter whatever they want.
Well, that
Yeah,
seems kind of
and
shitty.
that's the same for all of those Eldrazi. When you cast this, it does something. Doesn't matter if you counter it; it's still exiling half your deck.
Ain't that
Yep,
fun?
it's an on-cast trigger, not a summon. It's an on-cast trigger. So, there's a few counter spells that can counter abilities and
Yes.
on cast triggers and stuff like that, but no one plays them. So
Yeah.
not even a degenerate like me will play them.
Gotcha.
And if for the Ugin deck, you've got so much ramp, you might as well have these giant bastards in there, right?
Yep.
All right, cool, guys. Well, any other last words? Final thoughts? No?
We love you, Pensfan.
Oh, well, thank you.
Yeah, we love you.
Well, I appreciate you guys doing this with me as always.
No, I mean, I really love Pensfan.
Oh, wow. Good to know.
Also, everyone, go find Pensfan's OnlyFans account.
Yeah.
There's no
So
such thing.
look at Pensfan's feet.
There's no
All
such
right.
thing. There's no such thing. But in all seriousness, I do want to thank both of you guys for doing these videos. Appreciate it.
We appreciate being invited.
Yeah. Like I said, I'm always wanting to do content and willing to do it with anyone wants to volunteer. You guys, Seragyn, you've been volunteering for shit a while now, and Spoon, you've been doing the last several, so I appreciate it.
If there's ever another Eternal set, we can do those too.
Yeah, if they ever come out with one, which we're not holding our breath. Which is why we're doing Magic content now, guys. So we'll just keep on keeping on. That's all. If they do, I mean, if they drop a new set, sure, we'll review it. If they don't, like I said, we'll just keep doing Magics.
I offered that because I know they won't.
Well, no, we know. It's kind of put a fork in them, but anyways. So I want to thank everyone.
But the roadmap, they have question marks on the roadmap. The roadmap, guys.
So what is that? The concept of a plan?
I think that's because they don't know what off ramp they're going to drive the bus off of. But oh well. Anyway, I want to thank everyone for hanging out. Let us know in the comments below if you agree or disagree with any of the cards that we've chosen, and why you agree or disagree. And until next time, thanks everyone. Catch you soon.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah. Fuck you, Pence.